Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dayton Drama Queens. I'm Josh Stucky.
And I'm Philip Drennen.
And we want to thank you all. As you know, we're going to head at the end of this season 2. We've been asked a lot about doing remotes from some of the things that are going on in the city. We've talked to Tyler from Mitosis, our God above.
Yes, thank you.
It's like, we're going to do this. So I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, go on some reconnaissance mission.
Exactly. But for today, we have an incredible guest with us, involved in every kind of arts form you can imagine here in Dayton. This is Scott Winters.
Oh my God.
Welcome. And also happens to be one of the sweetest people I've ever known.
Thanks.
Yes, thanks for joining us today.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so I know there's so much that we can cover with you because you're got your fingers in so many different kind of art forms. But I think what people really know you for is the whole WGI thing that goes on here in Dayton. How did you yourself get involved with that?
And actually, I think it's weird too that it's called pageantry arts. And like, because when most people think of pageants or pageantry, you think of, you know, a beauty pageant or something like that. But it's actually called the pageantry arts.
Okay.
And I go back to, it was probably, I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
I went to come to high school. Lived in Medway, Ohio. Go Medway. Go. And I was drum major, and I had just picked up a rifle, and I started playing with it, and I enjoyed it, and I got good at it. It was weird too, because this is back in like the early 80s. Right. So back then there were certain things that boys didn't do and boys did do. A funny little off the shoot story there.
Please, we love those.
So when I was about 8, I'm running off the bus down the driveway into my garage, and my brother's sitting there waiting for me. Hi, John. And he goes, Scott, he goes, you run like a little girl. He goes, boys don't swing their arms, boys pump their arms. And he taught me how to run.
Oh, wow.
And it was in that moment that I knew that I was going to have to do things differently. I was going to have to hide a few things. I was going to have to wear this mask and whatnot. So this kind of curtails. So then it leads me into this picking up of this rifle.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided, you know, I'm just going to do what makes me happy. I loved to perform, and I auditioned for Miller's Blackhawks. They were an independent world group at the time. And
Were they in Dayton?
They were in Dayton.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, Fred Miller is now who I work for, FJM.
Oh, okay.
So it all kind of like, so Fred and Marlene Miller met back in the early 50s. They both spin baton, and they were at a baton camp in Connecticut.
Okay.
They met, they fell in love, they had kids, and they started this whole world of Miller's Blackhawks.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that you were connected.
Oh, yeah.
I was a drum major as well.
Okay.
And I went to...
We're all three.
Yeah.
We're drum majors.
Oh, my
Yes,
gosh.
yeah.
And I went to Fred J. Miller camp for 2 summers.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, for drum
I did
major.
not go to
Right.
camp.
But I didn't realize the two were connected.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So he and her started the business out of their basement. Marlene would sew flags by herself, and then one person would be added on, and another person would be added on. They had 2 locations in Centerville. They outgrew both of those. They had partnerships then with like Michael Cesario, who is a designer from New York, and he revolutionized the band uniform. Up until then, like a band uniform was heavy. It was made with horsehair. It was very, you could only dry clean them. And so they started this whole,
People are passing out.
Right. You can now, your moms can now wash your band uniforms. They hold up, they look great on your kids. And then the company now has built their own building out in Miamisburg. That's where I work now.
Yeah.
I did work for them for years, but it was about 2009. They asked me, hey, would you like to have an in-house position? So that's when I kind of like switched from the ad agency world that I was in, which was a lot of work. Like that's a whole different beast.
Sure.
And so I went over there and then discovered, hey, you can print on material. Like you can print on material. Like, why aren't we doing this? And like, I made them samples of anything. Like it's the sky is the limit now when it comes to being able to print on a piece of fabric to either make a flag or a prop or a costume, a hat wrap. Like it is unbelievable and show specific because they can be relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what it seems like kind of, and I'm sure there's daily challenges, but what a dream to have an arts degree, an arts background, a love for color guard, winter guard, and have a position where you get to marry both of those things. I mean, was that a position that was always there and it was like, oh, I'd be great for that? Or how did
it was
that
not a position that was always there.
Okay.
So when I graduated from UD with my bachelor's in fine arts, and that's when I was marching Miller. So I marched Miller's Blackhawks from 84 through like 87. Those were the 4 years that I was going to college. So on the weekends, I would take my sketch pads and whatnot for rehearsals because we just lived at Fred Marlene's house. I slept on Mike Miller's floor in a sleeping bag.
Oh, wow.
But I always did all my homework after a rehearsal, like at midnight, sitting on their living room floor. And Marlene always was so proud of me. She goes, Scott, you're going to go places. She goes, you like, she was just so proud that I like really put the time into my schoolwork and tried to march at the same time.
Sure.
So it was this, they were an amazing family that I learned a great deal from.
So with that in mind, I know that you've used the skills you've learned from that, and you're now regarded as one of the best instructors for those that are in winter guard.
Yeah. And, so WGI is Winter Guard International.
Yes.
Its inception was like in 1977.
Okay.
When a group of directors out in, I believe it was in San Francisco, got together and were trying to formulate a way that throughout the nation there could be a competitive standard to judge from group to group and whatnot.
Okay.
And actually, like, so color guards, is really derives from the military, which is what guarded the color, and the color being the United States flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can still see, like, if the VFW or something is at a football game or whatnot, and they have a flag holder, there's a man standing beside them with a rifle and a saber. And that's kind of where it all started from.
Gotcha.
Was
Makes
this.
sense.
So then in the early days, that rifle and saber were with the United States flag, and it was part of everybody's show. It was very military. It was very linear. It was about precision. It was nothing was about performance. It was just about precision.
Right.
Very military. And then as the years went on, it just grew, and you added new things to it. The judges' sheets changed over the years to reward what was now called general effects. And then they added in design analysis, where they were really like getting into like the design of the show and how does that affect you emotionally and physically. The demand and everything has just been crazy, and it's just grown over the years. I mean, I started teaching, my first group that I taught was Beaver Creek High School, like in 1984.
Okay.
I taught them for like 7 years. I moved on from them to Miamisburg the first time. I've been at Miamisburg twice, but the first time I was with Miamisburg High School. And the thing that keeps me coming back, it's not so much about teaching a kid how to throw something in the air and how to catch it. It's not really even as much as about teaching them how to perform, but it's teaching a child that they can do anything. Yeah. That their possibilities are endless. My dad and my mom always taught me with hard work and dedication that I could achieve anything.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
They were my safe spot. And I believe that some kids, but I also remember that kid that knew he had to pump his arms, that wanted to kind of disappear in high school, that just wanted to walk down the hallways and not be yelled at. I just wanted to shrink and be not seen. I can still see that today. Like I can still see that in some of these kids' faces. So I just try to create them a safe spot where they're able to try something different, get so outside their box. Like I am asking them to perform things that are so foreign to them, like to give a real emotion of anger, of anxiety, or fear, like to really dig in there and find that emotion in them. They just want to shrink and just hide in the back. So like to see a child understand that their part of the puzzle. And like sometimes like we might have 13 kids on the floor for a winter season. It can go up to like to 40 kids. But in those smaller groups, it's even more important that each kid understands that their part of that puzzle is so important, that it's not always about who can throw the highest toss or who can turn around 3 times underneath something. It's about giving an honest emotion in a moment that maybe is just in the back corner of the floor, that you're going to be seen, that your role is important.
Right.
So that is, I've seen a lot of kids get out of some sad parts of their life through this activity. The amount of kids that contact me after graduation that, I mean, so right now, like some of my original kids, like already have grandchildren. Not to like date myself, but
No, I get it.
but
Sure.
but it's a great thing for kids to, and I think the activity allows them to not only work on their inner self, but how they relate with other kids. It's how do I create bonds with somebody that, you know, I may not really like that much, because I mean, let's face it, I mean, that is what life will be once you graduate college or out in the workforce. You may be working with somebody that you don't really agree with some of their philosophies or anything, but I need to have the skills in which to
need to work together.
to work together, to find a way that we can like solve a problem or do a job task together and see past those things. And I think this gives kids skills that sometimes they don't learn otherwise.
And no matter what, you're going to be in a situation where you need discipline in some form, and you need structure, whatever your career or your life ends up. And for those kids who, they may not fit in or be good at sports or even academics or things, to have another option where it's like, oh, I'm good at this. And you have to be disciplined and you have to be aware of your, you know, fellow artists and things like that. But it's like you said, they may not want to be the center of attention, but it could lead them to something else. And all of these art forms are connected in ways, you know, whether it's, okay, well, maybe I can get on stage now. Maybe I can do theater, or I love the visual of this. You know, maybe I should explore this part of my creativity. It's just going to open the door for all of these artistic expressions.
And it's and beyond just the discipline of it all, it's the conquering your fear.
Yes.
Because I always have the same talk with them, and I tell them how when I walk down that hallway in high school where I just wanted to shrink, and I allow them a safe spot to be laughed at, to try something new and not fear that someone's going to judge them, to be silly, to be over the top, and they learn within a short period of time that I'm not judging them, that I'm celebrating them. Even in their moments when they're silly, like I'm still celebrating that because they're taking a step, what I call up the ladder, to get to where we want to be. The funny thing, I use this ladder analogy all the time, like we're always taking steps up our ladder. And one day one of the kids asked me, okay, so when we get to the top of the ladder, what's up there? I'm like, well, you will find out soon enough in life. There's just another ladder. And then you will start all over again and you'll climb even higher.
So you are a performer outside of doing WGI, and you perform in Dayton now with the fabulous RubiGirls.
With the fabulous RubiGirls.
Tell us a little bit about what that's like. Is talking about a kid that swung their arms, and now it's you know, something that you utilize as.
It is it's a weird place being my age, because because I went through a lot of different eras of things, and now to be like this 60-year-old man that dresses up in drag and acts a fool and doesn't take himself seriously and doesn't worry about what someone's going to say about him.
The greatest freedom.
And again, that is something that I feel like I'm trying to teach these kids, that you have to be able to know your own worth. You have to be able to stand tall and be like, this is me. This is how I come. You're either going to like me or you're not going to like me.
That's right.
And it's not going to affect me either way.
Right.
We can be friends or we cannot be friends.
Yes.
You know, to teach and to even teach myself, quite honestly, that I have nothing to be ashamed of.
Exactly.
I have nothing to be ashamed of.
Yes. And you've proven that time and time again. I mean, one thing that I will tell you, and I tell Scott this all the time, in being a Kettering teacher and knowing some of those students who are involved and talking to people like Kristen, who, you know, they come to me and they're like, I have learned so much about, you know, standing on my own 2 feet because of what Scott Winters has taught me. It's effective. What you're doing is effective. And there's no greater gift than knowing that what you're doing is worth something.
Yeah. I mean, because, I'll never have children of my own.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
True.
never have children of my own, but I have hundreds and hundreds of children that I have given them a piece of what was given to me from my parents. It's that passing down of philosophies, of just goodwill, to be quite honest. My dad knew no stranger.
Yeah.
He was that man that would walk down the mall and be like, how do you do?
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Right.
Like, he knew no stranger, and that kind of spilled over to me. My mom was a big welcoming hug, you know, and that's what and she was like my safe spot.
Yeah.
So when I was worried about swinging my arms, I would just go to my mom, and she made me feel correct.
Yeah.
She made me feel enough.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to give to my kids, is that feeling of I'm enough.
What do you feel like knowing all that and feeling all this? What do you feel like's next for you? What do you see?
I am going to I feel like I'm in this whole transitional space where I just moved into Rubicon Mill after living in my home for 34 years.
Yeah,
and it was a big, huge change, and it was something I needed to do, but I wanted to be able to take more time for my art.
Yeah.
My third floor is going to be a studio. I want to be able to paint more.
Yeah.
But to do those kind of things, and I want to really be able to devote my time a little bit more to the RubiGirls. I feel like during winter season, there's a whole 6 months where I kind of just disappear.
Yeah.
And I
get
am
that.
immersed literally in this world because I'm to have a nationally competitive group. So the group that I just worked with competed in Scholastic A, which is the lowest of the Scholastic classes. There's Scholastic A, Scholastic Open, and Scholastic World. In Scholastic A, there were 134 groups that came to UD for nationals.
I was going to say they do the championships here in Dayton, right?
Well, and it's actually called Worlds.
Okay.
Because groups from the Netherlands come over and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah. There's usually not.
I had no idea.
There's not scholastic groups.
Okay.
But in the independent categories,
Okay.
there's groups from England, Japan. Oh,
That's
there's just amazing creativity. But anyway, so out of 134 groups that came to nationals, we ended up in 17th place.
Wow, that's incredible.
And they got to be in finals in UD Arena on Friday night, and the stands are jam-packed. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of people there, and they walk down that tunnel, and you can see the nerves.
Yeah.
And and the thing is like with with football or anything, any competitive sport, there are nerves that are involved.
Yeah.
And as a coach, I try to instill again on my students how sometimes you can't push the nerves down. You have to sit with it. You have to sit and you have to become friends with them.
Yes.
And that all comes from rehearsals. We need to rehearse how we're going to perform. So it's a level playing field. So you can't just be all relaxed and no pressure and whatnot in rehearsal and then go into a performance where you've got this. There's a difference. So your body's going to react differently.
For sure.
Yeah.
So they just put a little bit more in there. We try to shrink down those nerves. And there we're at the edge of that tunnel and that thing opened up. And it's like, okay, here we go.
It's happening.
And
It's amazing.
I've never been so proud. I've done this for eons. I've ran up those stairs to watch a million of my groups perform, and every single time I just feel so much pride. It doesn't really matter the score or the placement.
Right.
There's a thing that a poem that we say, and it says, in life's battles, crap, poop. It's just crap. Sorry, but it's about the man that wins is the man that thinks he can. The life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but the man that wins is the man that thinks he can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do we think we can? Like, we know we can,
Right.
but then I'm always like, but what is winning? Is winning first place?
Yeah.
Is winning the best score? No. I mean, winning is just achieving your personal goal of entertaining that audience, to hear that applause, to say what you came to say.
Right.
That's amazing. That's so beautiful.
It really
That
is.
It's a great, I mean, it's a great way to like tie it all together. It's beautiful. Well, one thing I hope, and I know you do too, is that you'll come back and do some more shows on stage. Scott is
Yes,
amazing on stage.
please.
We would love to see more of that out of you yourself.
I would love that.
All you've given to the community, you know, and there is a point in time where we're like, I got to do this for me now. It's
Right.
my
For
turn.
sure.
And you're getting there.
Right, yeah.
And you're just joy.
You're
I
ju-
mean,
you are
whether
joy.
you're on stage or off, it's just like every time I see you, it's just
Yeah.
Scott's here.
Thanks. I appreciate
yes.
that.
And
Come
with
play
that in
with us
mind-
again.
Yes.
Yes, please.
With that in mind, we thank you so much for being
Yes,
here on
thank you.
DDQ and helping us grow as well. You've done that for us well as people.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Yay.
Hey, everybody, listen, make sure you're visiting Square One Salon, our major sponsor. And we want to thank Theater Lab and for all they're doing to get our community arts out there as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And again, Scott Winters, make sure you check him out and all the things that he does.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to us too.
Yeah.
On
Oh my God,
all
yes.
your
Don't forget.
streaming platforms.
It's just
YouTube.
growing and growing and growing.
Absolutely.
And yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. We will be back again. And I think we have at least one more month of this before our season wraps up.
think so.
But it's been incredible what you're doing for us. So thank you for following us.
Absolutely.
We'll see you again soon for DDQ. We're signing off. Have a great
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.